Thank you, everyone. It is 6:23, and this is the October council meeting, General Council meeting for Devonport City Council. All persons in attendance are advised that it's council policy to record council meetings in accordance with council's digital recording policy, and the digital recording on this meeting will be made available to the public on council's website for a minimum period of 6 months. The meeting is also being live streamed on council's YouTube channel. Council acknowledges and pays respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the traditional and original owners and continuing custodians of this land. Item 1 is apologies, and we have a full complement of councillors on board. Item 2 is declarations of interest, and I would ask if there are any declarations of interest in any item on the open part of this agenda. Councillor Murphy. Can you pop your...
It was on. Thank you, Mayor. You do in item 4.1. Just bear with me 2 seconds. So I am engaged by related parties to the application on a professional basis. I will be leaving the room. And also agenda item 4.3, I am known to the proponent and have been engaged by them in my professional role. I also will be leaving the room.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Are there any other declarations of interest? Councillor Alexio.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Item 4.1, as a supermarket owner myself, I'll be sitting out of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other declarations of interest in any item on this agenda? I will be declaring an interest in item 5.1 and leaving the room during that debate and asking Deputy Mayor Jarman to take the chair. Thank you. Item 3.1 is confirmation of minutes. Can I have a mover for the confirmation of minutes?
So moved. Second.
Of the September meeting. Thank you, Councillor Perry and Councillor Murphy. Any comments, Councillor Perry?
Merely procedural, Mayor, thank you.
Councillor Murphy?
I agree with Councillor Perry.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Perry to close?
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 3.2 is public question time, and item 3.2.1 as responses to questions raised at prior meetings, and there is a recommendation there, please. Do I have Councillor Murphy? Thank you. And Councillor Laycock? Councillor Murphy?
Yet again, Mayor, just procedural.
Councillor Laycock?
Nothing to add.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? I'll ask Councillor Murphy to close.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 3.2.2 is questions on notice from the public, and we haven't had any questions on notice for this meeting. Item 3.2.3 is questions without notice from the public, an opportunity for members of the gallery to come to the microphone, ask any questions they may have. First stating your name and address, please.
Thank you. Douglas Janney, 23 Watkinson Street, Devonport. The old library, the facade is looking very weary. When is the council going to freshen it up?
Thank you, Mr. Janney.
Yes, through you, Mayor, there's no immediate plans to do any refresh, but obviously something council would consider each year as part of the budget process.
Very poor for the supposed living city.
Thank you, Mr. Janney. Are there any other comments, questions? Questions? Sorry.
Malcolm Garden, Beaumont Drive, Mindetta. Council recently advertised for expressions of interest in the purchase of 2 existing car park sites in the grassed area west of the former library in Fenton Way. Has Council ever publicly sought expressions of interest in the purchase of the former library site? And if so, when was it?
Thank you, Mr. Garden.
Yeah, sorry, Mayor, just misheard part of it. Has council ever sought expressions of interest in
yeah,
the
I just-
library,
Yeah.
in the
Has
building?
council ever publicly sought expressions of interest in the purchase of the former library site? And if so, when was it?
No, we haven't. Council did seek expressions of interest for a small parcel of land on the northwest corner of the library building, but not for the building itself.
I didn't think so from memory. Look, with reference to the Advocate Article 3 TSO concert coup, 21st of October, will council confirm if the orchestra will play from the Waterfront Park Amphitheatre or the $700,000 rotunda?
I'm sorry, would you repeat that, Mr.
Oh,
Bowden? I'm
sorry,
struggling
is
to
this-
hear you.
This thing's going? Everything's good?
Yes, it is, but just look
Yeah.
into it, thank you.
The TSO concert that was in the paper the other day, that we've got TSO concert coup, will council confirm if the orchestra will play from the Waterfront Park Amphitheatre or the $700,000 rotunda? Are they going to be in the rotunda or are they going to be positioned up on the amphitheatre? It's in the park, it was said
It'll
it'd
be-
be in
at-
the Waterfront
at this-
Parkland.
At this stage, the plan is to use most of the park.
Planning to use the park.
It's
Yep.
still some work to be done.
Okay, I
Thank
understand
you.
that. Look, and with reference to the same article, stating an expectation of some 5,000 attendees, is council expecting to have to close the section of Formby Road between Best and Oldacre Streets to facilitate the TSO event?
That would be my understanding, Mr. Gardam. That's always been the plan as part of the Waterfront
Shut
Precinct.
Formby Road every time we get a big event then. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, not every time, but it's an option we've had right from the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Mr. Vellacott?
Bob Vellacott, 11 Cocker Place, for the record. Mayor, my question is in relation to the condition of the property on the corner of Best and Nook Street, commonly known as Days Building. It appears we could have another old maternity hospital within our city. That is the condition, a pretty poor condition, not in keeping with the rest of the properties around. Last time I had a look at it, there was broken windows, some had plywood on it, there was pigeons flying in and out, and of course with the recent weather coming that way, not much of an imagination to say there'd be plenty of moisture and what have you inside. I have been told that there has been liquid coming down on the interior of that building. Now, my question is, does it comply with health and building regulations? The other thing is that, am I correct in saying that council now has the authority to do something about it, if the builder won't, if the present owner doesn't? Also, who is the present owners? Does council know, and why haven't they taken it, or have you taken any action so far in having that building brought to a reasonable and acceptable standard to comply, and I emphasise to comply particularly with the health regulations? Thank you.
Mr. Vellacott, given the number of questions you've asked there, I'll take it on notice and reply in writing. Thank you. There were several questions there and I don't want to miss anything, so.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you. Are there any other questions from any member of the gallery? In that case, we will move on to item 3.3 is questions on notice from councillors, and there are no questions in that category. Item 3.4 are notices of motion, and again, there are no notices of motion tabled for this meeting. Item 4 is planning authority matters, and I now announce that council intends to act as a planning authority under the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act of 1993 for the consideration of agenda items 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3. Council is required by Regulation 8.3 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations of 2015 to deal with items as a planning authority under LUPA 1993 in a sequential manner. And these items are to be dealt with at this meeting in council's capacity as a planning authority. Item 4.1, and I note that Councillor Murphy and Councillor Alexio have declared an interest and are leaving the room for this item on the agenda. Item 4.1, AM 2022.02 and PA 2022.0092 is 1-5 Friend Street and 88 and 90 to 102 Stony Rise Road development.
So moved.
Second.
Councillor Perry, Councillor Jarman, thank you. Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, look, this is quite a detailed report, as those that have read it would know. It's some 580 pages, A4 pages. Because I guess there's a lot to it. There's a complexity about it for sure, but at the end of the day, it can be best described in our conclusion. The goal is the proposed development will facilitate a neighbourhood centre with a large supermarket and essential retail or businesses, whilst avoiding a degradation of the intent of the original Homemaker Centre. And that's very important, Madam Mayor. The removal of the Devonport Homemaker Service Industrial Centre Specific Area Plan from the Devonport local planning provisions will reduce potential land use conflict between residential land which now abuts the site. I think that paragraph pretty much sums up the intent of the amendment that we plan to certify and send off to the Tasmanian Planning Scheme. We've had a workshop on this. I think we understand where this needs to go, or where the proponent wants it to go, and we've all been fairly clear on that. So tonight's our opportunity to either support that or not support it. I support it because I support the intent of it all and the benefits that it will bring to the city of Devonport, and particularly, I guess, the southern outlet of Devonport and those suburbs heading to the south of Devonport. There's not much else I need to say. It's all in the report, apart from what I've said, and I look forward to hearing what other councillors have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Councillor Jarman is the seconder of the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I certainly would like to say that we couldn't have a more open and transparent amount of reading to do for ourselves as well as the general public. It's certainly been open to them so that they can have a look at this development and see exactly what it's going to be and how much careful planning has been put into it. I certainly think that there will be concerns coming from the public, and some of those I hope that we can ease their minds, and we certainly understand that there'll be people concerned about traffic flow. That's certainly going to be something that we need to work on going into the future with this development, and I know that the proponents certainly are aware of that too. And it wouldn't just be for this new development. We've already, had understanding that during Christmas time it can be very busy up at the Homemaker Centre. What a shame. It's such a shame we've got something so successful. But we are aware that there are traffic jams that do go on in certain times of business trading, and we certainly are going to be proposing to look at speaking to not only these new business people, but also the Harvey Norman people as well, to make sure that we can help them and see if we can do something about the traffic flow. It's certainly something very heavy on my mind with the fact that we're making the area so busy, and we are certainly aware of that. Certainly want to ease the mind too of people that say, oh, we're fragmenting. That's a famous old word. It's not at all. What we're doing is we're bringing business to the region. All we're doing is enabling. All we're doing is hoping that people will see how successful this is, and more people want to come to the area, let alone to Tasmania. So I say bring it on. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Jarman. Are there any other speakers to the motion? Councillor Laycock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just quickly, I do remember quite a few years ago, a lot of people out there saying the Homemaker Centre won't work. And my philosophy was they'll come, they'll do the Homemaker Centre, they'll move around the city. And there's been a lot of retailers have spoken in favour of this, that this is what's happening when they talk to people. So I feel the new development there will only be, I think as Councillor Perry has just said, very beneficial to the city. It's got conditions to it. It's still got a long way to go, but I do congratulate
the proponents for putting this forward, and I do hope that in the near future it gets legs and we see it built up there on the site. Thank you.
Foster?
Yes, this is the next section in the development up here. I think this leaves only one block left to be developed. Hopefully it'll be one of the missing retailers that Devonport has not got at this stage. So I fully support the development.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis?
Thank you. I think the whole concept is going to be a big benefit to the city. I like I too have concerns about the traffic, if we can do something about that as going forward, but the overall amenity of providing a supermarket, etc., in that part of the city will only be a benefit for everyone.
Thank you. I'll ask Councillor Perry to close. Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and thank you, other councillors, for your contribution. Just in relation to traffic flow, I think there'll be smart enough minds to configure or work out those issues. And to be frank, a bustling city like we are becoming are always going to have traffic flow issues. It's about mitigating those and making them achievable and livable for the people that use the area or go past the area, go by the area. I have been privy to see the development from this proponent at the Glebe, a suburb of Hobart, towards the latter stages of that development. And it really did, once it really did take shape, and I think it was opened not that long ago, probably a couple of months now, it really is a magnificent looking complex from the highway. And if we get anything similar to that, it's fantastic news for Devonport. We are a growing city. To have a development like this, for us to be on the cusp of this, along with everything else that's going on, just almost brings tears to my eyes, because Devonport really is going places. Of course, I won't be on the new council to be part of the opening, but if I'm part of getting it there, or the process in getting it there, then I'll be happy with that. And that's another feather in the cap of Devonport and what we can offer big scale developers or developments. And I look forward to the motion being successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Ms Surtees, would you ask... thank you. Councillor Murphy and Councillor Alexio back in the room. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to item 4.2, AM 2022.03 and PA 2022.0100, rezoning of agricultural zone to rural living zone at 130 Tuggerah Road and a subdivision. There's a recommendation there before us. Do I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Thank you for coming.
So moved.
Thank you.
Councillor Jarman, thank you. Councillor Murphy. Councillor Jarman?
Thank you, Mayor. So, being Tuggerah Road, we pretty understand that there's been a lot of development going on there. We've certainly have made sure that it's been done in certain sections. We've now come to this part of it. There's a 7-lot subdivision being proposed. It certainly makes sense for me to agree that this is something that needs to be done. We need to make the changes. I am aware that obviously there is a certain amount of foliage that will be removed in one section, but there is then a need be then for some planting to be done. I'm very grateful that that has been recommended. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy is the seconder.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the work that's been done in the residential growth strategy highlights exactly how important these types of developments, once they're brought to council, that they are supported. Obviously the demand's there. People want to live here, and this is just another extension of that.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
Yes, this is a further development in the Tuggerah Road area, and it's these sort of developments that help keep our rates down. The more development there is in the city, it makes it more simple for council to be able to hold rates down to lower levels than otherwise would be the case. So I'm fully supportive of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? I'll ask Councillor Jarman to close the debate.
Let's consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 4.3, PA 2022.0155, noting that Councillor Murphy has declared an interest in this item as well. So it's the 14 to 18 and 20 Fraser Street, Sprayton, 9-lot subdivision. Do I have a mover for the motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Perry, thank you.
A second.
And Councillor Alexio. Councillor Perry.
Again, thank you, Mayor. It's quite a detailed report. It makes perfect sense. I don't really need to add much more than that. Thank you. I do note there is one representation, but I think that's been answered adequately. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Alexio.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, no, there's a few stipulations on that property there, but it's all in the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Questions? No. I'll ask Councillor Perry to close the debate, please.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Are there any against? Motion is carried unanimously. And I'll invite Councillor Murphy to return to the chamber. And ask Councillor Jarman if she will take the chair, please. Hello. Hello.
So I need to go to 100. Thank you. So item 5.1, Code of Conduct Determination Report, Mr Garden versus Councillor Rockcliffe. If I can have a mover, thank you. Councillor Murphy, and a seconder. Councillor Ennis, thank you. Councillor Murphy, if you'd like to.
It's only merely for noting.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Any other further comment? Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Not me, Madam Chair. I note again that in the report, I have no opinion on the report or the decision that's been made, but I note again, in accordance with section 28ZD1, a code of conduct panel is to make every endeavour to investigate and determine a code of conduct complaint within 90 days of the chairperson's determination that the complaint is investigated. Well, this has once again gone over 90 days. It's almost standard now that the code of conduct complaints do go over that, and it's another reason why the
Councillor Hollister, could you turn yours off for the moment and I'll come to you, I'm sorry. Let's see if that helps.
Well, the code of conduct framework needs much more rigour, and I think there's an investigation going on, but yeah, it's one of those kick the can down the road reviews. We need to get serious with it for everyone's benefit, and the panel again has been disappointing. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Perry. Councillor Hollister.
It's just that this code of conduct review is underway at the moment. It's probably still 12 to 18 months away before the government decides what they're going to do with it. So the sooner they fix it, the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment from the councillors? No. Let's ask Councillor Murphy to close the debate.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour? Against? So carried. Thank you. If the Mayor can come back to the room, would be Thank you for organising that. I'll leave.
Thank you, councillor Jarman. Item 5.2 is the annual financial report. Mover, please. Councillor Murphy. And a seconder. Councillor Milborn, thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thanks, Mayor. I think it's all there for all to see, and it's such a positive result. If you look at most other, councils within the state, we're in the enviable position of, having a surplus, and I think a lot of that is attributed to the executive and our general manager and Ms. Peebles and her fantastic skills, which will be sadly missed in relation to preparing that report. The fact that we ended up in the position that we did demonstrates council's capacity to cut from its own cloth when it's required. I'm the same too, and I'm back. And just being prudent. So well done. It's a fantastic effort, and yes, congratulations.
Thank you, councillor Murphy. Councillor Milborn is the seconder of the motion.
Well said, councillor Murphy. If nothing more to add other than it's an excellent position for the council to be in.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, I'd like to reiterate Councillor Murphy and Councillor Milborn's statements. The report itself is a really good document. Goes to the heart of what we do in a reader-friendly way, and of course the work that goes into providing the numbers in the report or achieving the numbers in the report has to be acknowledged and sheeted back to our General Manager and his executive management team and right down through the whole organisation. Congratulations to them. I've never been involved with a better organisation than this one, and I've been involved in a few from top to bottom, so full credit to them and absolute commendation to the group that we are in this position, and long may it continue. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Perry. Are there any other comments, questions? I'll ask councillor Murphy to close the debate.
Thank you, Mayor, and to the previous speakers. And I'd just like to reiterate that Ms. Peebles, it's been an absolute pleasure. The level of professionalism that you've demonstrated in the 4 years that I've been on council, and the advice and the guidance which you provided to the organisation through the audit committee, and the evidence and the proof is in the pudding. You will be sadly missed, but I believe that you're more than confident in the capabilities of the people that you're leaving behind, and to the GM. Again, it's just a fantastic result, and as I stated earlier, we are very fortunate to be in the position that we are. Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6 is information. Item 6.1 is the Mayor's monthly report. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Murphy and Councillor Jarman. Councillor Murphy. Oh, apologies. Councillor Murphy.
Yes, Mayor, you've been busy as per normal. I can only imagine the feeling that you would have at this particular point in time, and I think we're very fortunate that we've had a mayor as committed to the role as what you have been over the past 4 years since I've been here, and the 2 years prior to that. So I can only imagine the sense of feeling that you have at this particular point in time, and would, on behalf of myself and other new members of council, I believe Councillor Jarman will probably have some words to say as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jarman.
I wasn't going to say anything, councillor Murphy. No, of course I am. Yes, so thank you for that report, Mayor, and I certainly would like to thank you for the 11 years that I've had the pleasure of working with you, and I certainly think people don't realise how much time is spent, especially in the mayor's role, and you've been doing that not only just for the 4 years, you were certainly acting mayor as well. It's a long time to be away from family and friends and all the different things that you turn up to. I don't know if people realise the amount of hours that have been spent turning up to every single AGM, any opening of a hall, any opening of a bottle, literally.
You're making me sound like a social butterfly.
No, well, you have to be, and it's expected. And I know there are not many times that I've been called upon to take your place because of how much work you put in, so I'd like to thank you for that. It's not an easy job, and I think you just need to know that you're leaving Devonport City Council in a very good position, and I'll be watching every cent afterwards, don't you worry, if I'm still here. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments, questions? Councillor Laycock?
Thank you, Mayor. Another busy month. We always seem to say that, but I think the role of the Mayor and the General Manager, it's always going to be very busy. And I'd like to reiterate what Councillor Jarman has just said, because unless you've been in the seat, you don't realise how busy it is and the time that you give up. So I'd just like to extend my best to you for the future. And I think your saying recently on radio has been time to take a breath when you're asked what you're going to do next. So you've got time there, you've got a beautiful granddaughter and family that you'll be able to kick back a little bit. But thank you for everything you've done. It's been a pleasure working with you, Annette.
Thank you, Lynn. Councillor Hollister?
Yes, I concur with the other speakers, previous speakers. I can say that you have had to put up with a lot more than I ever had to when I was mayor, and I congratulate you on your control of very difficult meetings for the last 4 years that I've been here. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I'm listening to my eulogy. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your comments. Councillor Perry?
Thanks, Mayor. Look, I'd like to reiterate everyone else's comments and commend you. Disappointed you couldn't quite get onto a second page with your list of events this time around, so you're clearly taking your foot off the pedal, which is, and you need to be held to account for that. No, in all seriousness, Mayor, it's probably the last 4 years hasn't been as enjoyable as it could and should have been. There have been some times when you've been exposed to stress that you should not have been, and during that period you showed leadership that no, not all of us have seen before, and I commend you on that. You did inspire us, and you stayed the course, and you remain composed, which is credit to you to remain composed under consistent fire. So congratulations on that. You've been a wonderful mayor, and I hope the next one's almost as good. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Again, as I said, it feels like I'm listening to my eulogy, but that's okay. I'll take it. Thank you. I appreciate those kind words. Councillor Murphy to close.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you. Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6.2 is the General Manager's report for the month. Do I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Jarman and Councillor Murphy. Thank you. Councillor Jarman.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, it's always interesting to see what goes on behind the scenes and different things that the General Manager's been attending as well. I always do value this report, so it certainly gives the general public an opportunity to see what goes on and all the things that have to be done. And I thank the General Manager and also for coming out of COVID so well, and his executive have done a wonderful job. And I also will take this moment to thank Ms Peebles as well. How dare you leave us? But I do understand, and I think it's been an amazing time for us to learn so much from you. And I thank you genuinely. And I'm not going to get upset, but how dare you leave us? But I know that I've learnt so much from you, and I appreciate that, and I know how much the executive appreciated you being there. And I certainly would like to pass on my acknowledgement very quickly, if I may, Mayor, please bear with me, but to Councillor Laycock and Councillor Perry too. They've both put their hand up to retire, and it's incredible. The 11 years I've had the privilege of working with both of them has been incredible. They've been mentors, they've been adversaries. Certainly times we don't always agree, but my word, we walk out that door and we're still friends, and I've always appreciated that, and I think a lot of people could take note of that. We can have robust discussions, we can have arguments in the most polite way, but we always really do respect each other, and I really have appreciated their time here. So I do thank them very, very much. And I thank the General Manager for putting up with me as well. Thank you.
Councillor Murphy.
Yes, well, I can reiterate all of what Councillor Jarman has said, and again to Councillor Alexio, unfortunately, who won't be with us for the next 4 years. Councillor Milburn, who also is not recontesting. So, but again, to lose the experience that we are, yes, I wholeheartedly agree. But the GM obviously has been busy too, so it's all about him in this report. But anyway, but we just might mention a few others if he's happy with that. But again, thank you to all of those.
Thank you. Are there any other comments, questions?
Yes, Mayor, thank you.
Councillor Laycock.
I did pick some pieces out of the recommendation, but I think I might just leave them because if you've read that, you understand all that. I just want to say to the General Manager, very special congratulations. Firstly, with the opening of the Novotel Hotel, Matthew. The Living City project was your baby from the beginning, and you must be extremely proud. And I don't think people realise the amount of work it is to run a council, to appease and work with councillors. You've got the most fabulous executive leadership team, and then to have a project like Living City to work with others there, it is just a huge job. You took over the reins at a very difficult time when we lost our other General Manager, but I knew you would, and you've proved to a lot of naysayers that have been in the public gallery that you could do the job, and you've exceeded. As I said, you've got a great leadership team, you've got very professional staff. It's made it very easy to work with everybody over the last, well, I'd say 20 years, but over the last few years in particular. And Matthew, with you as General Manager, our city will fulfil its full potential. I know that, and I'll be watching and having a look and coming along. But Devonport, there was a motion that I put up many years ago, and we're nearly there to become the retail hub of the North West Coast. And I also believe we can become the leading city, not just of the North West Coast, but the North, with everything that's going on in Devonport. So, Matthew, thanks for a busy month, but also thanks for being our General Manager. I don't think we could have anybody better steering our ship in the right direction. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Laycock. Councillor Alexio.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I fully support what Councillor Laycock was just mentioning there about the General Manager. I do note, as a retailer in our store for 36 years, we manage quite a fair few issues and things that happen in our business. But looking at the General Manager's role here, and I look at 1.1, I think, yeah, internal staff and management meetings, they can be pretty difficult, and I imagine all the other jobs that he has listed there. He covers quite a fair bit, so congratulations, Matthew. I'll definitely miss the councillors and the council meetings that I attend, but hopefully you won't see the last of me and you see me around. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask Councillor Jarman to close the debate.
Consider it closed. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6.3 is the Infrastructure and Works Report for the last 2 months. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Murphy. Seconder. Councillor Alexio, thank you. Councillor Murphy.
It's all there in a very detailed report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Alexio.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, good report there by Mr Williams. Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to see the Horsehead Creek toilet sort of being well progressed. That'll be a very popular spot in that area, no doubt. And it's pleasing to see that we're working on accessibility, improving it in our city and up at the Aquatic Centre, but dare say we've got a bit more to go in that space.
Thank you. Councillor Laycock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as a parting thought. I'd hate to think that, I know you wouldn't in council forget about planting trees. Please plant lots of trees. And as the shadow minister for garbage bins, I would like just to mention to everybody, please don't put garbage bins next to seats. I've seen this in the past and it's been a little pet hate of mine, and our streetscapes and that are looking fantastic. So just please be really mindful of that. But on that note, that's all good. Thank you.
Councillor Murphy to close.
Consider it closed.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 6.4 is the Development and Health Services report for the last 2 months.
Second.
Councillor Murphy and Councillor Perry. Councillor Murphy.
Yet again, a very detailed report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Perry.
Agree with Councillor Murphy, Mayor, and also congratulations to Kylie for being elevated to the executive leadership team. Well done. It's on the back of a lot of hard work and a lot of good decisions, so congratulations and all the best with it.
Thank you. Are there any other comments, questions? I'll ask Councillor Murphy to close the debate.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 7 is section 23 committees, and we have had no committee meetings since the last council meeting, and with that brings us to the close of the open part of this agenda. Do I have a motion to move into closed session? Councillor Murphy,
Second.
thank you, and Councillor Laycock. Any comment, Councillor
Merely
Murphy?
procedural, Mayor.
Councillor Laycock?
Nothing to add.
I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Are there any against? Motion is carried unanimously. So that brings the open section of this agenda to a close at 7:05. I thank all of you in the public gallery for sticking it out. Thank you, everyone.